Grades common factor for the bajillionth time. We did a maze, which should be in the bucket. I'm going to look, see if you got it right or wrong, hand it back to you if it's wrong, and let you fix it. There's also a GCF worksheet that was really stinking easy, and it should be in the bucket as well. I'm even going to grade it and hand it back to you and let you fix it if things are wrong. Today, there's 2 more on that list. I'm going to keep making the list as it is. Notice that there's a little star by some things. So let's explain that. Last week you were on spring break. The week before that, Miss Asbury, in addition to the wanted posters, which we put so much effort into, in addition to the wanted posters and the other assignments you had 2 weeks ago, she also gave her class a packet they had to do as well. I did not do that to you. No, don't thank me. You're doing it now. My thought was, before spring break brain, I don't want that. I'll take after spring break brain. So slowly but surely, I'm handing you pages from the packet. If you want to eventually staple it all together, you can. So anyone that has an asterisk is part of a packet. And I'm eventually going to put that in as another lovely 60% grade. It should be an easy. Hannah gets 100 because Hannah's going to turn in her pages. And I'm going to check them and say, oh, you missed number 2. She's going to fix number 2. She's going to turn it back in. We're going to say at the moment, I don't know when that GCF packet is due. When this whole entire factoring packet is due. At the moment, I don't know because we haven't set a test date. But whenever we do decide that is our test date for factoring, that is the day the packet will be due. But at the moment, that's to be determined. I assume one day next week. So it would be wise to go ahead, but it would be smart of Aubrey to do each page as he gets it, so I can go ahead and grade it, hand it back to him, and say, hey, Aubrey, fix 5 and 7. We don't want the big debacle that happened the last time we had a packet where most people did well. Most people did. There were 3 or 4 who didn't do multiple pages, or they made multiple mistakes and didn't have time to fix them. So the sooner you get it in, the sooner we can get it fixed, the sooner we can get back on track. Were there any questions after your GCF worksheet and your GCF maze? Were there any questions about grades common factor? Is anyone confused on that still? Okay, well then today we're going to take notes on an LC equal to 1. What does that mean? That's what the learning target says. Yeah, it does mean leading coefficient. So I'm going to spell it out. Leading coefficient of 1. Yes, I know I've skipped the bell ringer. I'm going to come back to it momentarily. Leading coefficient of 1. If you have out your bell ringer sheet, which you should, if you look at yesterday's bell ringers, we did 2 factoring problems already with leading coefficients of 1. We discussed when there's a 1 in front of the x squared, we're trying to think of 2 numbers that add to the middle term and multiply to the last term. And you have it down, and you're excellent at it, and you've got it, and I've given you a worksheet, and there's a second worksheet apparently coming, and you're going to be awesome at it. The problem is when we start doing all of them at the same time, because everybody immediately wants to Ninja Star. So what we're going to talk about today is that those who are just Ninja Star savvy, we can even do the Ninja Star when there's a leading coefficient of 1, if you're just dead set on Ninja Starring it 24/7. Now, I don't care if Kiana does the Ninja Star or not. I do care that Kiana, the first thought in her head, like the first slap in our foldable, is greatest common factor. Her first thought should be, is there a GCF? If not, then she can start trying to Ninja Star. Okay, yesterday we had an example that could probably work for us today. Does anyone see that example? Can we use example 1, 2, or 3 again today? Which one has a leading coefficient of 1? Yeah, 1. We're going to use example 1 again today. I'm going to steal that remaining polynomial, x squared plus 11x plus 28. So for our first example today, I'm going to do x squared plus 11x plus 28. Okay, I'm going to do it both ways. We can do it with how I normally do it in my brain. I'm trying to think of 2 things that add to 11 and multiply to give me 28. Does anyone already just know the answer? Yeah, 7 and 4. 2 things that add to give me 11 would be 7 and 4. two things that multiply to give you 28. Hey, that's also 7 and 4. How do I write those two factors?
X plus 7, X plus 10.
Okay, that's great. That's awesome. If you understand how to do that, awesome. Natalia Stinkin has it down until we start throwing in multiple kinds of problems. So, in case that's you, I know that describes her, in case that's you, and you're just wanting to ninja start 24/7, you can. So I'm going to draw my star. I'm still going to end up with 7 and 4. I'm still going to put my A's here, which would be a 1. I'm still going to put my B down here. It's still 11. And heck, if you still want to do A times C, you could. Because A times C is 1 times 28. It's still just going to be 28. So, but when I did the ninja star, ultimately I'm still trying to think what two things. Add to give me the bottom. What two things? Multiply to give me the top. You're still going to figure out, for this one, it would be 7 and 4. So it's x plus 7, x plus 4. I just don't do the ninja star because I feel like it's a lot of extra work when the leading coefficient's 1. But if you want to not have to think about when or when not to use the ninja star, if you want to ninja star it with a leading coefficient of 1, you can. It still works. Are there any questions about that one? Okay, well then let's work 2 more at least. So number 2, let's do brain. I want to do x squared, obviously. Why didn't I have that already pulled up? That is a good question. Oh, x squared minus 30x plus 40. Okay, so let's pretend that's our second one. So really I'm needing two numbers that add to give me a negative 30 and multiply to give me a 40. Now this list is going to be a little longer because there are more things that can multiply to 40. So you could make a whole list of what multiplies to give you 40 like we used to.
1 and 40.
Or you can start with your ninja star and say, well, the A is 1, the B is negative 30, the C is 40. We're just needing to figure out those two slots. So I need two things that add to negative 30 and multiply to 40, which is already what we knew anyway, but if it helps you to write the star, it doesn't hurt anybody. 3 times nothing is 40. Move on to 4. 4 and 10. What else?
5 and 6.
5 and
5 times 30.
5 and 8. No, you're good. Is that it? Yeah, we could do 8 and 5. What's wrong?
Oh, the one of them has to be negative. Yeah.
Which one has to be negative?
The left side. The big side.
Okay, so negative 40 plus 1 is negative 39. Negative 20 plus 2 is negative 18. Negative 10 plus 4 is negative 6. Negative 8 plus 5 is negative 3. What's happened? What are we going to do? Okay, so what do we say?
Not solvable.
We're going to say not factorable, but yeah. Okay, I did that one because there are some today, if you haven't noticed, one worksheet is factor if possible. So there are some that are not possible or not factorable. Okay, as for our third, let's do... That one's too easy. Ooh, you'll like that one.
Is it easy or harder?
Harder. Let's do a squared minus 15a plus, I've forgotten because I was talking to her. A squared minus 15a plus 50. Okay, so I need two things that multiply to give me 50 and add to give me a negative 15. And again, if you're wanting to make the ninja star, we start filling it in. The A's go there. B goes here. A times C is 50. Yes?
Negative 2 and negative 5.
That's true. Negative 10, negative 5. Because if you're thinking it through, negative 10 plus a negative 5 is a negative 15. Negative 10 times a negative 5 is a positive 15. Now, if Josh knows it, which clearly he did off the top of his head, if Josh knows it off the top of his head, I don't have to see this. I don't have to see the ninja star. I don't have to see anything but the answer. But let's face it, eventually a test is coming, and Josh would like something to show in case he's messed up. But Josh isn't going to mess up because Josh could check himself. How can Josh check himself? He could always FOIL this back out. In fact, he might not show it on paper, but in his head he could go a squared minus 5a minus 10a. Well, that's minus 15a. Negative 10 times negative 5 is positive 50. He can check himself with FOIL. Okay, and this is the mistake that Allison was making, and she's not the only one. She's just the one that comes to my mind. Before we left on spring break, if the variable is a, leave it at a. Don't change it to x. It does not make a difference. Leave it at a. Leave it whatever they gave you. Okay, let's work one more, and then I swear I have enough for you to do to, if you don't have it by now, my golly, you're going to get it. Let's do, I wish I had a really hard one.
No, it's not too hard.
For the seniors, they're special.
Seniors. How many days do we have?
I don't know. They get out sooner than you do. They take their exams. The week you take your exams, they don't have to come to school. They have to, the week before when you're reviewing, they take their exams that week. We're even on a weird schedule for them. No, last year we didn't do a weird bell schedule for them. But yeah, they don't have to come the last week. When you come to take your exams, they don't come. They sit at home. And then they have graduation that Wednesday night, Thursday, and Tuesday night. They have graduation one night while you're taking exams. Okay, here is I'm going to call it a harder one, even though it's really not that much harder. Does anyone need me to make the ninja star or anything like that? Does anyone just know the answer? Go ahead, tell me. Yes, it would. So good.
What did she say?
She said something about 8.
Something about squared.
And she said something about squared. I don't know. It was genius what she said, but I don't know.
What'd she say?
I'm not that smart, so
What did she say?
I didn't hear her.
I know. So she said something about 8. What are the two factors?
8 and 8.
8 and 8. 8 plus 8 is 16. 8 times 8 is 64. She is correct. If you made your ninja star, it would still end up being 8 and 8. Doesn't matter. So she said instead of writing b plus 8 and b plus 8 like that, she was smarter. Just do b plus 8 squared. That is what Kiana said. Exactly. We're actually going to talk about, that's a special product that we should easily recognize. We're going to spend more time on that later. Later. Okay, so you were handed one. You were handed this puzzle. Let's look at it really fast, make sure we're on the same page for it. Notice it's not the one with a star by it. So if for some reason Josh can just only do one thing today, this would not be the one thing to do. But it is the funner thing to do. Funner. Let me tell you, what a great word that was. Okay, 12, for instance, can you help me with this very first problem? I need to know two things that multiply to give me 12 and add to give me 13. 12 and 1. So it needs to be x plus 1 and x plus 12. Okay, so x plus 1, is everyone good with that? Those being the two factors? Okay, well now let's talk about how to shade it in. Although you and I both know I'm really focused on did Gavin, oh my goodness, get it together. Did Gavin do all these problems? Not really can Gavin shade just so, but I like to see that he can. Okay, x plus 1 apparently is shading like this. If you look at the legend up above, it says x plus 1, you shade the box top right. X plus 12 tells us we're shading the L boxes. So all the L boxes, we want to shade the top right. There's an L box. Oh. It's a good thing I'm offering bonus for that then. Okay.
How would be the next person else?
Y'all better back away from her before she lights on fire or something.
What do you have, Doug, about?
I think it's like 2 points.
I do 5 normally for coloring.
5?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
One was you did like 2 points.
Oh, because it was in the 30%. Oh, and that's because that was the day I was mad at y'all because y'all were unproductive while I was out of the room.
Oh, yeah.
The period after you, they got the regular amount.
Wow.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Note to self, be productive.
But some people were productive.
Yeah. You were very helpful. I'll give you that. You were very helpful. When I came in, you looked like you were trying to be very helpful. I appreciate that. Are those all the L's?
Very, very confused.
I shaded all the L's top right.
Yeah, but I'm confused on like how to match up.
It ends up shading something.
Hey,
So-
the first one is the first column, whatever.
Okay,
whatever
so
one
I
just
ignored.
So since we got x plus 1, since we got our answer was x plus 1, right? Our factors were x plus 1 and x plus 12. Yeah, so that's why I knew to shade all the L's like that. Yes, dear. No. 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 You find both of them. Yes, you match the shade with the letter. No, you match the shade with the letter, so that's why all the L's are like that. You're all being very blind today.
They are all blonde. People like how she
It's okay. Nah. Okay, when you finish that, and trust me, you will finish that. There are 26 more, so there's that many letters in the alphabet more. I swear there are some repeats ones. Reed, what did we just talk about?
The star, the asterisk.
Which one has the asterisk, not the puzzle?
The
So if
GCF.
you're having to decide which one to do, don't do the puzzle. Neither one is necessarily due tomorrow.